Right. Excuse me. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you are on the cyber universe. And just in case you're wondering, I have to look occasionally at a screen. I have an auxiliary screen on my computer because my computer is on its last legs. And my name is Undoctor Brian Shirshvartin English Firalish Kuvri Makianara. Dr. Brian George Martin McHenry. And I'm an expert in computation. I'm a former military intelligence officer, combat intelligence officer. I'm a poet. I recite and write in both English and in Irish. I am a man of knowledge. And I have entitled this broadcast as the falseness of politics, the falseness of the political process. And we have now elected, we did not elect this imbecile of a Taoiseach, this thorny Simon Scathach. When I wrote that poem, there were two Simons. Now there is one. Simple Simon ate the pieman and brought him to Ursula van der Leyden. Oh, Ursula, I am going to be a loyal subject of yours. I am going to make sure that Ireland toes the line. But, Simon, we will not. I am warning you. You are useless as a Taoiseach. You are useless as a person. Politics is useless. I have created a new organisation, Draum na Nuhulrakta, which will supersede politics with knowledge. Knowledge is the only way that we can fight this encroachment of our ducas by the European Union. European Union seeks to take over every country. They do it with very subtle information war. They do it constantly. Look at Euronews, the mouthpiece of the European Union. Not one bit of critical analysis. Oh, we're all Europeans. I'm not a European. And while one person stands against the European Union and the encroachment of our ducas, then we all stand. Fine, they say, oh, this Europe has been good to us. Europe has made billions from our fishing. They have sold it on to the Chinese and the Russians. We will take our fishing back from ye European technocrats. Oh, they have elected a technocrat in Ireland now. Technical. Simon has no brains. Simon has no brains. Simon has no creativity. And just in case anyone is wondering, why do I take this strength? Why do I take this very strong opinion? Well, we have a government now that supports both sides of the fence. They're sitting on both sides of the fence. We have a government minister who attended a militarized event in the United States for Paddy's Day. Oh, I was just doing this and I was doing my duty according to the people. The people do not want you, Catherine. The people do not want your over-administration. And it's time that we took back control of this country from technocrats all over our administration. You try to start something new in this country, and you are stymied by administration and layer of administration over and over and over and over and over again. They have tried to stop me for 30 years. But boys, your time is over. And may I say a little something about that grand institution where I completed my PhD, the University of Ignorance, University Ignorance Cork, UUC, UIC, University of Ignorance Cork. They are promulgating something which is has destroyed our education system. I have the knowledge to restore it, but it will come at a certain cost. Norma, you have gotten messages from me and you have chosen, or your lackeys have chosen to ignore them. Not anymore. It's time for you to wake up and smell the coffee, Norma. You are Minister for Education, not Minister for Ignorance. Ye have all failed, and we're being dragged into this war in Ukraine, and we will not join any European army. There is no threat from Russia. The threat is from the United Nations, in fact. The threat is from NATO and Europe. 41 years ago, I did a military intelligence course in the army. And at the very end of the course, I asked one question. I said, where does this threat come from? And the guy who gave us the information said he didn't know. I was sitting in his office some 3 months later as a combat intelligence officer in Army headquarters. And I discovered something which I'm not at liberty to say right now, but I will say it in the future. I discovered that our government, our institutions were being, influenced. These were the early social influences, the early government influences by the CIA and the NSA. I discovered information to that effect some 41 years ago. God only knows the level of influence they have now. I'm not privy to that. I don't need to be because I can see it. It is quite obvious. How come we have a children's hospital whose price keeps escalating? Oh, we want the best in the world. Do we actually need the best in the world? What we need is a functioning healthcare system, not the best in the world. We need an adequate healthcare system. We need a healthcare system which recognizes non-invasive, technical resolutions to health problems. Most of our health problems are of a mental nature because the mind creates the body. Consciousness creates the mind. So we need to get knowledge from the level of consciousness. Sinné gur maithagat agus slán.